Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going deep on mistake number 11 from Arun Kumar Raman's blog series, 50 Mistakes, Why Most Hotels Fail and How You Can Succeed.
A great read for hotel owners here in India, for sure.
Really is.
Yeah.
We'll be focusing on something that could really be hurting your profits,
Mm.
getting too dependent on those online travel agents.
OTAs.
OTAs,
Yeah.
like Make My Trip, GoEbibo, those kinds of platforms.
Yeah. It's easy to see why hotels, especially when they're just starting out, really rely on these platforms.
That's right.
They promise so much visibility, a quick way to get
It
bookings.
seems so simple, right?
Yeah.
List your property, boom, the reservations come rolling in.
Yeah, exactly.
But Arun's blog is like, hold on a second. He makes a pretty strong argument that relying too heavily on OTAs could actually limit how much money you make in the long run.
Mm.
So what's the catch?
Well, these bookings, they seem effortless, but they come at a price.
Okay.
Often a much steeper price than hotel owners realize.
Sure.
Yeah, think about it. You're basically handing over a big chunk of your earnings to these platforms. I mean, we're not talking about a small fee here. Commissions can be anywhere from 15% to 25%, sometimes even more,
Oh, wow.
depending on the OTA and the kind of deal you have with them.
I mean, that's a big cut,
Mm-hmm.
Like, imagine if a restaurant had to give away a quarter of every dish they sold just to be listed on a food delivery app.
Exactly.
It's a lot.
Yeah, and that's just the start.
Okay.
The blog highlights another major problem. You don't really have any control over your guest data.
So you don't really know who your guests are.
No, you're essentially in the dark. You don't know their preferences, how to reach them directly to get them to book again.
It's kind of like a shopkeeper who never actually gets to know their regular customers.
Yeah.
They can't recommend things. They can't offer deals that are personal. They can't build that kind of relationship that brings people back.
Exactly, and this ties into the third big issue that Arun brings up, this dependence on platforms that aren't yours.
Right.
You're stuck with their algorithms, their rules, their fees, and all of that can change whenever they decide,
Yeah.
often without any real warning.
So you could be doing great one day, bookings are coming in left and right, and then the next you're buried in the search results because the OTA decided to change something.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be a little scary.
Yeah, definitely unsettling. Imagine there's a sudden road closure and all the traffic to your hotel is diverted. You have no control over it.
Yeah.
That's the kind of vulnerability that comes with relying solely on OTAs. There's this really interesting case study in the blog about a resort up in Shimla
Okay.
that shows these downsides perfectly.
Oh, yeah, I remember that story. It was pretty memorable. They were busy, rooms were often full, but they're barely breaking even.
Yeah, why do you think that was?
Why? Because those huge OTA commissions.
Right.
They were eating up all their profits. And even with full occupancy, they were struggling because they had no way to create loyal customers. OTAs had all the guest data, so the resort couldn't really get to know their guests or connect with them directly.
Right.
It's like they were stuck in this cycle of working really hard but not seeing the reward.
Definitely a cautionary tale.
Yeah.
And it really highlights what Arun keeps emphasizing throughout the blog. You've got to diversify your booking channels. Now, don't get me wrong. OTAs are important.
Yeah.
But they should be just one part of your strategy, not the whole thing.
Okay, so how did that resort in Shimla finally turn things around? What did they do to break free from depending on OTAs so much?
Well, they started by realizing just how powerful their own website could be. It's their online storefront, their first chance to make a good impression and show off what makes them unique.
So they took control of their story instead of letting the OTAs define them.
Exactly. So they completely revamped their website, made it user-friendly, visually appealing, easy to use on phones.
Nice.
But the most important change, they added a secure, easy-to-use booking engine right on their website.
So guests could book directly. No more going through the OTA.
Exactly. It's like building a bridge straight to your hotel,
Yeah,
cutting out the middleman.
I like it.
They also understood the importance of incentives, especially in the Indian market where people are always looking for good value.
Yeah.
So they started offering special deals and perks to those who booked directly through the website.
Like what kind of things?
Oh, they got really creative. Free room upgrades, complimentary breakfast, late checkout, even discounts on spa treatments or meals at their restaurant.
You're basically rewarding guests for choosing to book with you directly.
Exactly. And they didn't ignore social media.
Of course not.
Started using Instagram and Facebook to really tell their story, showcase their property, engage with potential guests.
So they were posting pictures of their rooms, the food, local things to do.
Yes, stunning pictures, even videos, all highlighting what made their property special.
Nice. So it's more than just a list of features. It's like painting a picture of what it feels like to stay there.
Yeah. They really wanted potential guests to imagine themselves enjoying their stay at the property, and they did it brilliantly. It was no longer just a room to book, it was an experience.
I like that. They also did something else to diversify their bookings, right?
Yes, something Arun strongly recommends. Building local partnerships.
Okay.
They reached out to travel agents, event planners, wedding planners, even corporate clients in the area. They saw the potential for getting more group bookings.
Yeah. So they're going beyond just online. They're getting out in the community and building relationships.
Exactly. They saw the value in being part of the local scene, not just being this isolated entity.
Did all these efforts pay off?
The results were incredible. In just 6 months, they saw a 40% increase in direct bookings. So they managed to reduce their reliance on OTAs significantly, which meant saving on those big commissions and starting to build a loyal customer base.
That's a win-win.
Absolutely. It just shows that diversifying your booking channels isn't just a nice idea. It's essential if you want your hotel to succeed in the long run.
It's about taking control. Right.
Yeah, not being dependent on algorithms or those external forces.
You know, I bet some hotel owners listening to this are thinking, okay, but what about visibility? Won't I lose potential guests if I cut back on OTAs?
It's a common concern, and it's something Arun addresses head-on in his blog.
Okay.
He emphasizes that it's not about ditching OTAs altogether.
Right.
It's about finding the right balance. You can still be on those platforms, but build up your own direct booking channels at the same time.
So like spreading out your bets, not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. But what about the cost of setting up a booking engine?
Yeah, that can seem daunting,
Hmm.
especially for smaller hotels with tight budgets.
It can feel like a big obstacle, but here's the thing. There are booking engines out there that are made specifically for small and medium-sized hotels.
Oh, okay.
And they're surprisingly affordable.
Hmm.
Plus, when you consider how much you save on OTA commissions, it often pays for itself pretty quickly. It's an investment, not an expense.
Like buying a new piece of equipment that helps you produce more and save money over time.
Precisely.
You pay up front, but the long-term benefits make it worthwhile.
Exactly. It's a smart business move, and it puts you in the driver's seat. You're in control.
This is all really great stuff, really insightful, but before we jump into some specific tips for our listeners, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back with more on diversifying your bookings. All right, we're back. Let's get into the practical stuff. We know relying too much on OTAs can be a problem, so what can hotel owners actually do to diversify those bookings? What's the first step?
Well, as we saw with that resort in Shimla, optimizing your website is super important.
Right.
It's your digital storefront, right? The first thing potential guests see.
Your first impression.
Exactly. And you want it to be inviting, give them all the info they need, and make it easy for them to find their way around.
It's like having a nice, bright lobby, beautifully decorated, friendly staff ready to help.
Yeah.
You wouldn't neglect your actual physical space.
Oh.
So why neglect your online space?
Exactly. You want to make sure it looks good, works well on phones, and it's very clear what people should do next. And this is a big one. Make sure you have a secure and easy-to-use booking engine right there on your website.
Hold on. For those who might not be familiar with the term, can we quickly explain what a booking engine is?
Sure. It's basically software that lets guests book rooms directly on your website. They can see what's available, pick their dates, choose the type of room they want, even pay securely, all without ever leaving your site.
So it's like having a 24/7 front desk right there on your website.
Yeah.
Guests can book whenever they want, no need to call or go through a third party.
Exactly. And you have full control over how it all works, from setting prices to communicating with guests.
Speaking of prices, let's talk incentives. We mentioned them earlier, but what kind of things really work for getting people to book directly, especially here in India?
Well, it really depends on who you're targeting and what appeals to them.
Okay.
But some things that usually work well are offering room upgrades, free breakfast, discounts on spa treatments or food at your restaurant, maybe even unique experiences that you don't offer through OTAs.
Just think about what adds value, what makes you stand out.
Yeah.
You're rewarding people for choosing you directly.
Exactly. And don't forget about personalization. Use the information you get from your booking engine and website to understand what your guests like.
Okay.
And then tailor your offers. Like, if you know a guest has stayed before and they loved a certain service, offer them a discount on that for their next stay.
That's smart. Shows you're paying attention. You care about their business.
Exactly.
Okay, what about social media? We all know it's important, but how can hotels actually use it to drive direct bookings?
Think of social media as your platform for telling your story. It's where you show off your hotel's personality, what makes you unique, the kind of experience people can expect.
It's about going beyond just listing amenities
Yeah.
and really capturing what it feels like to stay there.
Yes. High-quality photos and videos are key.
Of course.
Show off your rooms, your amenities, your food, your location, and especially the experiences you offer. Help potential guests really picture themselves enjoying a stay at your property.
Be creative. Feature local attractions, events, behind-the-scenes glimpses of what makes your hotel special.
Yes, and remember, engagement is crucial.
Right.
Respond to comments, answer questions, build relationships with your followers.
But social media is a two-way street. It's about having conversations and building trust.
Exactly. And don't forget about user-generated content.
What's that?
Encourage guests to share their experiences and then feature their posts on your own channels. It's authentic, people relate to it, it shows potential guests what others are saying about you.
Good point. Okay, last but not least, local partnerships. These can be huge for getting consistent group bookings and just getting your name out there locally.
Absolutely. It gets you offline and out into your community.
Literally shaking hands, building those relationships.
Exactly. Connect with travel agents, event planners, wedding planners, local businesses, even other hotels in your area for referrals.
You could offer packages for corporate events, weddings, even staycations for people who live nearby.
Yeah, be creative, think outside the box. Those local partnerships can really pay off over time.
This all sounds great. But let's address some concerns hotel owners might have, like the cost of setting up a booking engine. Is it really worth it, especially for smaller places?
It's a common question. And while it's true that booking engines used to be expensive and complicated to set up, things have changed.
Oh, good.
There are a lot more affordable options now, made just for small and medium-sized hotels.
So it's become more accessible. But is it really a good investment? How long does it take to see a return?
Well, every time someone books through your website, you're bypassing that OTA commission. It's pure profit. Okay.
Those savings add up fast, and often you'll see a return on your investment in just a few months.
So it's not just about the long game. There are real benefits in the short term, too.
Absolutely. And remember, you're not just saving money, you're also getting valuable data about your guests.
Right.
Which you can use to personalize your marketing, build loyalty, and get people to come back.
It's about taking control of those guest relationships, building a business that doesn't rely on these outside platforms.
Exactly.
Okay, one last concern I bet a lot of owners have. Visibility. Won't they lose out on potential guests if they pull back from OTAs? I mean, those platforms have a huge reach.
It's a valid concern. But remember, diversifying isn't about abandoning OTAs completely.
Right.
It's about finding the right balance.
Right.
You can still be on those platforms while you're building up your own direct booking channels.
Okay, so like having a diverse investment portfolio, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. By diversifying, you create a more stable business, one that can handle market changes or algorithm updates from the OTAs. And you get to learn more about your guests, where they're coming from, what they like, through those direct bookings.
Yes, exactly.
That data can help you target your marketing better.
Absolutely. It's all about building a sustainable, profitable business, one that's built on real relationships with your guests.
This has been incredibly helpful.
Mm-hmm.
But before we wrap up completely, I have one final thought for our listeners.
Yeah.
Have you thought about the possibilities of local partnerships? So much good stuff about local partnerships. But, got to think beyond the usual suspects like travel agents and event planners. What about working with like local artisans or restaurants, tour operators, creating these unique experiences for guests?
Yeah, that's a great point.
You could really set yourself apart.
Absolutely.
Create something truly memorable.
Building those kinds of partnerships, ones that people don't expect.
Right.
It can make a real difference.
Well, this has been a really insightful look at mistake number 11 from Arun Kumar Raman's blog series.
It has.
And we always encourage our listeners to check out the whole series, 50 mistakes, why most hotels fail, and how you can succeed.
So much valuable advice in there, especially for hotel owners here in India.
Yeah, it's a treasure trove of knowledge, really practical stuff that can help you make real changes in your business.
Absolutely.
All right, well, that brings us to the end of another deep dive. Hope you found this exploration helpful. Hope it gave you some ideas.
Yeah,
Running a hotel is a journey. It's full of challenges,
for sure.
but it's also full of opportunities. Embrace those challenges.
Absolutely.
Stay curious. Never stop trying to be better.
Always learning.
Until next time, may your rooms be full, your guests happy, and your business thriving.
Yes.